We have talked about before, we've talked about definite articles, and these are the definite articles that we've talked about before. So these are the definite articles. And remember that definite articles, there are 4 of them, and they all mean the, and we put them before most nouns. They mean the, and they are el, la, los, and las. Now up here you see singular, plural, masculine, feminine. Now we've talked about masculine and feminine before, and today we're kind of talking about singular, plural, which we haven't discussed before. We know that if a noun like libro, we know that this is masculine and singular. There's only one libro and it's masculine, so we're going to use this L. But if we make libros plural, and we make it libros, it's still masculine, but now it is plural, so it'll be los libros. In Spanish, the word the always precedes a noun and refers to a specific person, place, thing, or concept. So notice that the word specific. This will come up again, but remember that before any noun, you can put el, la, los, or las. In Spanish, the nouns, again, have gender. They're either masculine or they're feminine. And that means they usually end in an O if they're masculine or an A if they're feminine. There are irregularities, but most of the time they end in O or A. For example, el chico is masculine, but la chica is feminine. El chico because it ends in an O, and la chica because it ends in an A. And el is the definite article for chico, and la is the definite article for chica. Nouns are put into these categories even if there's no logical reason. So, for example, why is the word la puerta, which means the door, feminine, and el escritorio, the desk, masculine? There's no rhyme or reason. There's no femininity to a door or masculinity to a desk. It just is the way that they began. It's just the way that they're set. So there's no masculinity or femininity with any particular nouns. Of course, for like girl and boy there is, and for man and woman, and for things like that there is. But for the most part, there's no reason that la puerta is feminine, and so on. So, for example, nouns ending in O, like sombrero, are usually masculine. They take the definite article L. So usually words that end in an O are going to be masculine for the most part. So you'll see words like these: el chico, el muchacho, el sombrero, and so on and so forth. Those are all going to be masculine because they end in O's. Now remember, that doesn't always happen, but for the most part, that's how that goes. And the same thing for feminine. Camiseta means shirt, and it ends in an A, therefore it's feminine. We're going to use the definite article la. Same thing, here you go, you can see some words. These are all feminine. Chica, muchacha, blusa, words like that. I know a lot of them you don't know, but you can see the pattern. They all end in A's. Remember that sometimes not all the time do nouns end in O or A. So when they end in words like, or letters like E, or a consonant like mujer, they can be either masculine or feminine. And remember, we talked about you just have to learn ones like that individually. You have to learn them on a noun by noun basis. Like we talked about before, nouns are marked for gender, so they're either masculine or feminine, but also they are marked for number. So when I say make sure that your nouns agree in number and gender, that means that you have to make sure that they're either singular or plural and masculine or feminine. And we haven't talked really about number yet, so what's what we're going to talk about. Nouns are either singular or plural, and they're the same way in English. There's either one of something or more than one of something. So for example, the door is la puerta. It's singular, so it ends in an A, so its definite article is la. But doors, more than one, is going to be puertas, so the definite article is going to be las. And it works like that for everything. The noun adds an S and the article changes to the plural as well. So this is for regular words like libro and bolígrafo and things like that that end in an O or an A, all you gotta do is add an S and change the article. So they either go from el to los or la to las. So if you look at these, the plural form of these, el perro would become los perros, el zapato would become los zapatos, and el amigo would become los amigos. Sometimes in Spanish, we don't want to use a definite article. We don't want to say the door. We want to say a door, or a clock, or a chair. So in Spanish, we need, just like in English, we need to use an indefinite article. Indefinite article. And this is just like definite articles. All the same rules apply, except now we're using indefinite. This can mean either a or an. Remember, they don't have a different word for an if it starts with a vowel like we do. They just use these. They have these four, and again, the rules are the same as definite articles. So we have un, una, unos, and unas. And un is singular and masculine. So for example, un libro or un chico. And una is singular and feminine. So for example, una puerta, a door, or una mochila, a backpack. And then the same thing for plural masculine, unos libros, some books, unas puertas, some doors. So all the same rules from definite articles apply to indefinite articles. An indefinite article is the word a or an, and it comes before a noun, and it refers to a non-specific person, place, thing, or concept. So you may need a pen. I don't particularly care which pen you give me. I just need a pen. But if you wanted the pen that person was using, you would say, hey, can I have the pen? The pen that you have a specific pen in mind. But when you use a, you aren't sure which one you're talking about. A pen. Any pen, I don't care which one. Any of them will do. So English, we don't have a plural indefinite article, but in Spanish, you could just kind of translate this to some. So if you're going to say unas chicas, you're talking about some girls. So when you're using unos or unas, you can just kind of translate that to some. Because and doesn't really go plural. Nouns that end in O, this is exactly the same as definite articles. Nouns that end in O are masculine, and they use the article un. So here are some examples: un chico, un muchacho, un sombrero, and so on and so forth. The same thing with feminine. If it ends in an A, most of the time it's going to be feminine, and it's going to have una in front of it, like these. Una chica, una muchacha, una casa, and so on and so forth. I'm going to put up this worksheet. It's going to be called Gender of Nouns. I'll put that worksheet on Edline. Make sure that you complete that tonight for class tomorrow, and have a good night.